Hey everybody, Dave Bazanko here, and welcome to day 17 of our 30-day self-motivation challenge. And today what we're going to be talking about is how we can apply the VIP process for resilience to your personal relationships so that you can use the strength of those relationships to help you stay motivated to keep moving forward. Can being married actually be your key to self-motivation? That's a really good question because we talked about this yesterday. Energy. The energy that you have, right? The energy that you have to give to a relationship is what's going to cause you either to be self-motivated to move forward or self-motivated to get stuck or fall behind. Your choice. You get to decide what you're going to do today, how you're going to, what identity you're going to assume today, how you're going to dish your energy out into the world. You get to make that decision. The choice is, if you are following a path of being complacent or getting stuck or not knowing how to move forward, that can become a real challenge for you. And so we're going to try and get you from a place today where you're using the VIP process for resilience to build yourself up for success. So coming up, I've been resiliently, successfully, happily married for 34 years, and I'm just going to try and share what I've learned today in that process. And hopefully that will be helpful to the people who are watching this video. Now, I kid and say I've been resiliently married for 34 years, but I think that's a really good description for it because like most marriages, there's ups and downs, and there's good times and there's bad times. And I've asked a lot of my friends who are still successfully married to this point, have been married for over 30 years. I've got some friends who have been divorced, and I've got my in-laws have been married, I think, for, almost 60 years now. And it's funny when I talk to their friends who have been married for over 50 years, and I talk to our friends, my wife's and I's friends, who's also been married for over 30 years or around that number. It's really interesting the feedback I get. Honestly, if you ask, I think if you ask people who are older, my in-laws' age, my parents' age. They grew up in a different time where you just got married and you dealt with all the headaches, the bullshit, and it is what it is, and it's just too inconvenient to maybe break up, so we stuck together. That's kind of what I hear a lot. Maybe not those exact words, but I certainly don't hear, hey, we are on this awesome journey and we're doing these great things together, and isn't life grand and wonderful? I hear a lot of life sucks when you get older, and I think that's because there's been a lot of people who have not thought about investing in their future the way that I do, the way that I'm hopefully inspiring other people to think about their future. My grandfather, one of the last things he ever said to me that I remember him saying was, he looked me in the eye, and he was the funniest guy going, but he looked me in the eye one day and he said, Dave, mark my words, growing old sucks. And you know what? It sucked for him. He was not in shape. He was shaped like a pear. He had diabetes, all kinds of bad stuff going on. Didn't have a good ending. In my world, I've tried to invest in myself, and my wife invests in herself every day, so that we're this younger, fit 58-year-old couple who can do lots of really cool things. We keep investing in that identity every day so that we get to have the outcome that we want down the road. And so that brings me to our first item, the first part of our VIP blueprint for resilience, and that is vision. My wife and I have a shared vision of what our future is going to look like. Like, we know, we can see it in our mind's eye, what we're trying to get to. Again, we don't know what the roadmap looks like. We've got a pretty good idea now what it looks like, but boy, man, there were a lot of hills and valleys. I remember very clearly, I was going through some photos the other day, and I remember exactly where I was when my wife and I had the conversation about having kids. I remember we were in Northern Ontario on vacation in the summertime. We were on this sort of mountainous climb, not really a mountain, maybe a large hill, but it was a lookout onto the lake where we were staying, and it was called Blueberry Mountain. We got up to the top of Blueberry Mountain. I remember sitting side by side having this conversation. I got to tell you, I was getting pressure from my dad's friends saying, like, you're 28, 29 years old, you don't have kids yet. Like, what are you doing? We had 5 kids by the time we were 29. And I'm like, man, you guys are so out in left field. That's not what we do today. Well, today, kids aren't having kids until, if they're even having kids, until into their 30s. But I go back and I think of that moment in time where I was excited to start that journey. My wife might have been a little bit terrified. You know, she's having the babies. It was a bit of a different situation. But we had that shared vision that at some point there was going to be some hardships. Parenting, jobs, careers, everything else is going on, family, friends, all kinds of stuff happens, real life happens. But throughout all of that, the vision of the place that we're trying to get to has always remained the same, if not gotten better. And we don't know if the process we're following is going to take us to exactly where we want to get to. But the whole idea that we're even looking at it and considering it and thinking about it is the first step of having a successful relationship around you, is making sure that you're both still invested in getting to the same place together. So that's step one. Step two is the identity that you're going to follow. So whether it's your career, your parenting style, again, life isn't easy. Life gets dirty, it gets muddy, and maybe you chose the wrong career. Maybe it's just you don't have the time or energy to go back to school, and you're stuck and locked into this place where you feel stuck in life with your career. There's many challenges that you're going to face as a couple. And one of the things that can shoot you down into a hole real fast, get you stuck and falling behind in your relationships, is just simply refusing to talk about it, to acknowledge it's real, it exists, and try to talk through solutions that might help you together get to, again, where you're trying to go. There's more than one road that can take you to, if I'm leaving Toronto and I'm going to New York City, there's probably 1,000 different roads I could take to get there. I don't know which is the best road. I don't know which is going to be the smoothest road. I might think this is the smoothest road, and there might be construction on that road. So the idea is that you just have to keep perspective and an open mind and have good communication back and forth. That's the identity that we've hopefully assumed in our 34 years, is that we can have hard conversations with each other. When things aren't going well, we can have hard conversations knowing that it's not the end of our relationship, not the end of our marriage. We still have the vision. There is no guarantee on the roadmap, but we know we got a map and we've got different choices. You make those choices together. Hopefully you feel like you're making progress and moving forward. That takes me to my third step, proof, right? Look at the proof to say, is my life and marriage and everything else moving in the right direction? So, I can look at my wife and I can tell you that, our happiness meter, if you want to call it that, it's a floating scale, man. Some days happiness goes down, some days happiness goes up. It all depends on not only what's going on in our professional careers, but in our personal relationships, in our kids' relationships and their careers. There's in our parents' well-being. There's just so many things that are getting thrown at you, especially as you get on in life. Like, we're both 58, and it's not an easy road. But again, what's getting us through all of those moments, those difficult moments, is clarity of vision, good communication. We're assuming the identity of people who communicate well with each other, but we're also not sticking our heads in the sand and not paying attention to things that are important, like our health and well-being, like our financial independence. All of these things, sometimes are hard conversations to have, but you've got to have the conversations so that everybody gets on the same page. Because to stay self-motivated, to keep moving forward, to stay self-motivated, to want to invest in a relationship with somebody, I will say this: I'm fortunate that I married my best friend. I love Robin to death. I've known my wife, honestly. We've known each other. We were neighbors in kindergarten. We started dating at the end of high school, like grade 12, 13 in Canada. At the time, we had a grade 13. And we've known each other our entire lives. Her friends are my friends. We have this shared, I want to say over 50 years together, and well over almost 40 years as a couple. And the way we got there is through being able to have hard conversations, having a really solid vision of the world that we aspire to be a part of in the future. Investing in those identities every day, whether it be our well-being fitness-wise, financially, professionally, with our friend groups around us, trying to raise, all boats rise with the tide. we're trying to be that couple who are a good role model for our friends who also, as they want to travel around the world, hopefully they'll want to experience those trips the same way that we do. Robin and I, we go to Italy, the Amalfi Coast, and we go, my God, this is awesome. Let's go for a 5-hour hike up and down the coastline, and it's a tough going. Some of our friends go, yeah, no, I'm going to sit on the beach because that sounds like no fun at all. Now, there's a time and place to sit on the beach, but think of all the things you could discover as you take the back roads wandering up the streets from town to town through the Amalfi Coast if you've ever been there. Like, it's amazing. So that's part of the vision that we have for our future, getting to explore the world and not doing it from a wheelchair or with a walker or with a cane, but being fit, agile, healthy, happy people. I kind of laugh because a lot of the things that I do when I train, and my wife does when she trains doing her HIIT exercises, a lot of that is building up our quick twitch reflex muscles. And I always say that's not about sport and performance. That's about if you trip and you can catch yourself before you hit the pavement, that's what that's for. And, I countless times a month, I can tell you, I trip on something, catch myself because I'm agile. I've got quick twitch reflex muscles. So do my wife. So we tend not to fall down in the first place. But if we do trip on something, and hey, we do a lot of hiking out in the woods, right? And when you're hiking on the Niagara Escarpment down the Bruce Trail, you're going to catch your toes on tree roots all the time or rocks all the time. And to be able to catch yourself and not get hurt, like that's all a part of healthy, happy living down the road. So again, I take that VIP process, vision, to recap, I take that vision, shared vision, identity that's going to get you to that place, and just keep looking at the proof that you're moving forward. You'll know when you're stuck. You're going to know when you're stuck, and part of being stuck or falling behind. Part of that process to get unstuck is having hard conversations with each other, but just reaffirming that you're both trying to get to the same place. I can tell you this. It's so easy to be self-motivated to keep investing in yourself and doing hard things when you know that you're on that journey with somebody who you love and trust and wants to get to the same place, with you. Maybe not in the exact same way. Like, again, Robin's never going to be an Ironman, but she's going to be the best, fittest, healthiest version of herself that she can be. And nobody says you have to be an Ironman. This is just, this is what makes my heart sing. I found my happy place in doing these activities. This is my fountain of youth. It's what gets my juices going. Different strokes for different folks, I guess, but this just tells me that I'm capable of doing hard things, and I just enjoy it. But I also have to have that perspective of time and energy. Do I have the time and energy to do this and build those relationships around me and keep those healthy? So I'm motivated, self-motivated, to keep investing in myself, into my relationship, because I know that Robin and I are aspiring to get to the same place. And I think that's such a positive role model for not only our friends around us, but our family, our kids. And it's a hard one for them to live up to. I'll share something. One of my friends is a therapist, and he said to me, he says, Dave, have you ever stopped to think about how hard this is for your kids? And I said, what do you mean? I'm trying to be the best role model I can be. He says, yeah, but you've been married to your high school sweetheart for 34 years. You're a multiple Ironman triathlete. You've had success in business. Those are 3 lofty standards for anybody to aspire to achieve. And so part of my challenge is to not force anybody along with me, but just to find ways to keep inspiring to be the best that they can be. And never, ever, ever would I ever be disappointed. If I never get a chance to do a full Ironman with my son, I don't care. I spent a whole year training to do a half Ironman with my son. I cherish every single one of those workouts. I cherish the morning we came home from a minus 25-degree run where we were actually wearing winter coats over our running gear. It was at my son's house, and we were running loops around the neighborhood because I thought if we start getting hypothermia, we got to be able to get indoors. And we ended up doing like this 15, 20K run. I can't remember what it was. And at the end, we were both covered in ice. I'll put a picture on one of these two sides. But these are the moments in life that inspire me to keep moving forward. And my wife saw that, and she's like, Dave, you got to keep doing this so that Warren will still be inspired and Caitlin will be inspired to do great things. And I says, Robin, you got to keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is inspiring people to do great things. It's not just me because I've got this big lofty thing going on. It's everything that we're doing together as a family that's helping us to move forward. So, I love the idea of resilience, that VIP blueprint being able to be overlaid onto my personal relationships, my financial, my physical, my professional situations. It works in every case. Just have a clear vision. And in a marriage, you gotta have a vision together. Share an identity of how you're gonna get there, and then just look for the proof that it's moving forward, it's working for you. And that's gonna take me to my next conversation tomorrow. We're gonna be talking about, when is it time to pivot? When is it time to make a change in your process? And that video is gonna be right here. So if you enjoyed this today, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. And again, we're on day 17 of our 30-day self-motivation challenge. Every day, I'm going to share something new that you may not have thought of that might impact your ability to be either self-motivated or not. So we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye for now.